Hey everybody, it's Modern Refugee. Kind of getting ready here to go on a little bit of an overnight camping trip with Uncle Bumble. Kind of the purpose of this trip that we're going to film for you here is we want to establish a little bit of a base camp, someplace where we can test our equipment, our skills, try some of our ideas out. Can't always do that back here at the homestead. Kind of want to quick go over some of the gear that I'm going to be taking on this trip. It's going to be kind of a gear heavy trip because like I said, we're going to be establishing a base camp. So we're going to dig a fire pit and set up our hammocks and stuff, look for some water, do that kind of stuff. First thing is I'm going to be actually carrying a handgun on this trip. I am licensed to carry a handgun in the state of Michigan. Kind of show you there. That's what I'm going to be carrying. You're probably going to see it on me when I'm out and about. That's a Kenai chest rig. That's kind of my favorite method of carrying a handgun when I'm out camping and hiking, so it doesn't interfere with my straps. It's been really good to me. I've had it about 3 years, haven't had any issues with it. Just kind of want to show you that because you're probably going to see that on me when I'm out filming other stuff today, but just kind of wanted to tell you that, and I want to kind of go out and show you here kind of the gear I got assembled for our trip. So I'll be coming back to you here in just a second. Here we are with some of the gear that I'm taking. Like I said, I'm going to be gear heavy today. A couple different reasons for that. One is we're establishing a base camp, so I'm taking a little bit extra stuff with us that I wouldn't normally have with me, but I'm going to take a shovel because I want to dig a fire pit. I do have a fire extinguisher. Like I said, I am digging a fire pit, so I want to have a way to put that out if something gets out of control. It's pretty damp out here, though. I don't think we're going to have any issues, but still, safety first. I'm trading in my normal hatchet for an axe this time around because I got some wood out there. We're going to split some wood so we can have a little bit of a fire this evening. Also got a hammer. Hammer kind of comes in handy. I always carry a hammer in my truck anyway. You never know when you got a beat on something, so hammer's good to have. I got both my first aid kits here. I normally wouldn't take these big first aid kits with me when I'm just going out camping, but I kind of wanted to try them out in the field a little bit. The one I've already tried out in the field quite a bit, but the other one, the camouflage one's kind of new, so going to give that a shot here. I got everything in kind of my wood cutting tub. I'm going to take the first aid kits and the shovel and the axe, that kind of stuff's going to slide with me out there. I'm going to use this to collect firewood. But then the other thing is this evening I'm going to stow all my gear underneath this to keep everything dry and kind of snug. I got my pack here. This is normally what I use for get home bag, but I kind of reconfigured it for this trip. So kind of get used to my equipment more. I mean, I've already wore it quite a bit, but just another facet here and using the stuff that I've already got. It's kind of gear heavy, like I said. Kind of heavy on food, kind of heavy on sleeping stuff, want to stay warm. There's kind of a saying, pack light, freeze at night. So I got plenty of stuff in here to keep me warm tonight. Got some improvised gear that I want to try out. This right here is actually a couple of those vent visors, or those visors that they use to keep the sun out of your vehicle. I figured if it's good for reflecting heat, it should be good for reflecting heat in my hammock. So I'm actually going to put that down in my hammock and try to lay on that tonight. See if it gives me a little bit of insulation. One other thing that I kind of want to mention here is gloves. Got a good pair of leather gloves. Everybody should carry gloves in their pack. I don't care if you're in town or if you're in a big city. You never know when you're going to have to grab on something funky when you're out and about. So gloves is kind of something I always recommend people carry in their day packs and their get home bags and bug out bags and that kind of stuff, because you just never know if you're out in the woods or something, you got something sharp to hold on to or something hot that you got to grab onto. It's best to have a good pair of gloves with you. So anyway, that's kind of my take on the glove situation, but that's basically kind of the gear here I'm going to take, plus what I'm actually going to be wearing, which ain't going to be much. Pretty much everything that I got right here is going to be in that pack. One thing I don't have is I don't have any water. I'm going to filter some water when we're out there and use that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, hopefully now the next time when you hear from me, we're going to be out in the woods. So this is Modern Refugee. I'll be talking to you in a little bit. And here's Uncle Bumble. He's all set for the trail. One thing I always like to do when I'm hiking with folks is I want to check the back of their pack, make sure they don't have nothing hanging around. So I'm going to have him turn around here, kind of show his pack. I don't see anything too questionable with how he's got his stuff here. His gloves I'm going to tuck in up underneath this strap, though. I just don't want him to get caught in anything and lose his stuff before we even get started. So yeah, when you're out hiking with folks, always check each other's pack before you leave to make sure that the stuff is where it needs to be. But anyway, big old smile. We'll come to you from the campsite here in a bit. And right here is where we're going to come back to collect our water. It's coming up out of the ground pretty good here. Got a good flow. Going to fill a bladder up for using with my mini Sawyer. Anyway, going to come back here in a little bit after we get camp set up and start collecting our resources we need for the day. This is where we're going to make our base camp. We got some pines here. Going to clean these trees up. They're take some of the branches down so we got room for our hammock. And we got kind of a sandy ground here. It's kind of damp, which is good. Reduces the fire hazard. Going to pull back some of this leaves and pine needles here, so we got a nice safe place to put our fire. Probably going to do it a little bit out in the open there, somewhere over in there, but there should be more than enough room here for the two of us to get a couple of trees cleaned up for putting our hammocks up. When we got our stuff a little bit further along here, we'll come back and show you what it looks like. Got my hammock up. Trimmed a couple of branches there to hang my jackets on, my hoodie. And you can see there how I got it hooked up. And here's my improvised insulation out of a couple of windshield screens for our car. I got those for about $1.50 on clearance, and I foil taped two of them together. So we're going to see how this works for insulation in this hammock tonight while I'm sleeping. But I just wanted to show you this here. When I get my sleeping roll in here, I'm going to show you that too. And here's my wubby for the evening. Looks like it's going to be fairly warm out, so I'm pretty sure I'm not going to need all of this, but better to need it and not have it than the other way around. All this is my Gore-Tex cover, my three-piece sleeping system here, bought military surplus, and I got the black bag in here. This, with the clothes that I got, I'm sure I'm going to be good for the night, but anyway, that's kind of my sleeping setup. And there's my sleep shelter. Got it all the way I wanted. I got my bag in there. I kind of use these nighties carabiners here to hold the corners of my poncho up here in the tree. So it's up above my hammock a little bit. Kind of got made myself a homemade stake there. Pushed it down on the ground. That's probably down on the ground about 18 inches. I pushed it in quite a ways. I cut it at an angle so it was easier to go in the ground when I sawed that tree off, and then just wrapped the paracord up and knotted it up on the corner. Same thing with this one over here. Kind of go around here. Just kind of tied it off to the tree and then tied it off to the grommets on the corner of the poncho. So I got just a little bit of a shelter, and then inside here I hung up one of my headlamps so I can kick that on if I need to see what's going on when it gets dark. But anyway, it's kind of what it looks like in here. A little shady, a little nice. One other thing I like to carry with me is I like to carry a couple of clothespins, just in case you ever have to you know, dry a pair of socks or dry your schmog off, or got something like that going on. So I always kind of like reserve a piece of line for hanging up stuff to dry. Like I said, it doesn't weigh much. You already got paracord anyway. Just throw a couple of clothespins along in with your stuff. But anyway, just want to show you this. And here's our fire pit. Just dug a little bit of a pit, took the ground, spread it around the outside. Made it a little on the deep side because we're going to throw some rocks and stuff down there in the bottom to give it a little bit of a bed. And we got shovels going to stay right here so we can put it out before we go to sleep. And got a fire extinguisher here just for safety. But this is kind of what it looks like at this stage. And here's kind of the final camp. I got my first aid stuff hanging up here on the tree. Got it marked so if somebody needs something they can grab it right out of there. They know that's the first aid stuff. There's my sleeping arrangement. Got my other gear hung up over here. It's starting to get warm, so that's kind of why I like the clothesline. I can hang my stuff up there so it's nice and dry for later when it gets cool. Got everything else kind of hung here on some stubs that I cut on the tree. And that's kind of how it looks at this point. Getting to be a camp. found some clay tiles when we're out scavenging around. We're going to put these as the rim of our fire pit along with field rocks we already got. So always keep your eye out, whatever you can use for resources when you're out. There may be some stuff that you don't expect to find, like these guys right here. But these are going to be perfect for our fire pit. And here's our completed fire pit with our clay tiles that we scavenged. Busted some up, put them down there on the bottom. Get my shadow out of here. I like always putting a little rock or gravel down the bottom of my fire pit. Lets air get in easier, makes your fire burn a little better. But anyway, this kind of looks like. You can also see it from space, so that's great. Because, you know, I had to have something aesthetically pleasing and not just a pile of rocks. I made poor Uncle Bumble walk through the brush for like 20 minutes to go get these. Anyway, he was a good sport about it. Next step, go get some wood for the fire and go find some water. Got me an alcohol prep pad out of my first aid kit because I kind of scratched my arm up going back looking for those tiles for our fire pit, but it's kind of why I carried the extra first aid kit with us. If you're walking around in brushy country, you're going to get scratched up. It's just the way it is. So always have a little bit something with you where you can wipe those scratches and cuts down with. But anyway, I'm going to wipe my arms down here, and then we're going to go forage for some water. All right. Out here getting some water. This is going to be our natural water source. The water's bubbling up here pretty good. I'm filling it with the bag as best I can first, and then I got a little container here, a little cup that I'm going to fill it up with completely. Got a little bit of color in it, but it ain't too bad. You could use an MRE pouch if you had one of these for this too, or a Mountain House pouch that you didn't use, or that you've already used, I should say. A little piece of debris in there, I don't want that in there. This water's ice cold, which is good. I picked this spot for the water because of it's not attached to any tiles or drains from the field, so there shouldn't be any runoff from this because we're in an agricultural area here. I am trying to reduce the amount of contaminants in the water as much as possible before I filter it. I believe this is like a 3-liter pouch. With a little filtering and a little boiling, this should be good to go to use. No, got a little too much debris in that one. You could use a coffee filter. You could use your Shimag if this was really full of debris to ladle this water out. I think I got my money's worth out of the pouch there. Let's stand up, and I'm gonna get my I got a Sawyer rigged up to the tube. I'm gonna screw this on. Good and tight. Tip it up, make sure there's no leaks. Looks good. Now, this is going to go back in our sled here to go back to camp. I'm going to hang this up so we can use this to for water for our camp. But anyway, that's how I'm utilizing my natural water source here. Now that we got our water brought up, I'm going to make us some benches to sit on. So what I got here is I got a couple straight grain pieces of log. I cut the feet the same length, and I kind of laid them up against the side there, and then did this a day or so ago. I took my chainsaw and I put a notch in each one of those ends just like that. Got another one over here for Uncle B, and I got notches in them as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set those up on end, and I'm going to take my hatchet, or excuse me, my axe and my hammer, and I'm going to chip those pieces out, and that way it'll be a level surface to set on those feet. All right, you can see my cut that I got right here. That's kind of the piece that I want to split out. So I'm going to go back in here with my axe about as far as that cut is deep in the log. Give it a couple of. And that's the first side. Now we're going to flip it over. Do the same thing on this side. Okay, now this is too much of a round to sit on, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in the side here, and I'm going to split another piece off this end so we got a flat surface to set on. I still want to leave about half the thickness of the log on the end there so it doesn't split out on me. Just like that, and now we got a little bit of a flat surface that we can set on. So anyway, now all we do is we take our feet, set them down just like so, get them kind of on the level side. A little bit of mound there, don't want it quite right there. There, just a couple swings on the axe. We got ourselves a bench where we can sit around the fire pit on. Now, I'm gonna go make one for Uncle B. We'll be all set to boil some water, so we'll be ready to start making our supper before too long.
So if you look here, you can see the discoloration in the wood. If you smell this, it's gonna have like a turpentine, or it's gonna have a really good pine scent to it. That's what you want. This is your fat wood right here. This was next to the tree. I cut it off. All the sap runs down in the dead branch and collects there. So in pine trees, that's where you're looking for fat wood, is at the branches or at the by the root base when they die out. So that's good for starting fires.
So here's my water bladder, hung up with just a piece of paracord there on one of the branches that I trimmed. Like I said, it's got a little bit of a yellow tint to it, but it's not too bad. And you can see the flow arrow there I got on my mini Sawyer with the hose hooked up to it. Now, when I need some water, see if I can show you here with one hand. I just stick my tin cup underneath here. And fill up my cup for cooking or whatever. I did taste it. It's got a little bit of a dirt taste, but it's not too bad. That's one thing with these Sawyers, they take out the bad stuff, but sometimes the dissolved stuff that's in there, you still have a little bit of a funky taste. That's why it's best to have some coffee or cider mix or something like that to mix with it, just in case the taste is off, but it's still perfectly safe to drink. But anyway, this is my mini Sawyer. I want to mention something here, how I got my gear configured. Keep my saw on the outside of my pack just like that, so it's easier for me to grab. I got a ferro rod here that I got just stuck in here. This is one that I got a deer antler handle on. I got it stuck on the outside of my pack just hanging here, but I've been carrying that in my pocket all day. This front part here, this is kind of where I got my beaver tail. This is kind of where I got my food in. Just keep my food in there, keep some energy bars in there so it's easy to grab. Up on the top here, you can see I got an energy bar in there, and I got some drink mixes in there, some coffee and whatnot. And here on the side, these side pouches here, I keep kind of gear that I want right away. So I got another first aid kit in there. That's one I normally just carry in that pack. Got my fire kit in there. You can see my little bit of lighter fluid, a little bit of paraffin soap, drywall tape. Then in this other pack over here, I keep spare dry socks. You can kind of see it there, and a spare pair of gloves. You can kind of get an eye there, a little piece of plastic if I want to sit down or something. That's kind of how I carry that in there. And then this top little part here, this is kind of my hygiene kit. Got a little soap in there, a little hand sanitizer, and I got some baby wipes, but that's easy to grab if I have to, do nature's business or whatever. It's kind of important. A lot of people don't talk about that kind of stuff, but anyway, that's kind of how I got my pack configured when I'm out and about. I always carry one of these backpack stoves and a canister of gas with me in my get home bag and my hiking stuff. That way I can boil water quick if I need to. Carry a steel cup like this right here. I'm gonna boil a little water here. I'm gonna have a little coffee before I split some wood. Don't have the fire pit going just yet, so I figured I'm gonna use this guy here to get my coffee going. Then I'm gonna split some wood, and we're gonna start getting ready for supper. I'm getting ready to split my wood here. I kind of want to show you, see these natural cracks that are in the wood? Those are the places I want to aim for with the axe. I'm going to exploit those natural cracks when I split this. And as you can see here, if I'm going to use my wood kind of for camping and stuff, I cut it kind of on the small side. It makes it much easier to split and transport than big 18 or 24 inch pieces. So I'm going to get some wood split here, and I'll come back to you when we got our fire going. Got the wood stack going. Remember, when you think you got enough firewood, you need 5 times more. So this will be enough to get us started, but we'll have to split some more, probably even go get another tub yet tonight, depending on how late we're going to stay up. But just kind of wanted to show you why I brought an axe instead of a hatchet on this one, because I knew we were going to be splitting wood a little extra. It's good to have a hatchet. Uncle Bumble's got his, but I decided we needed an axe too, so kind of worked out good. 2 is always better than 1. He's got stuff that I don't, and vice versa, so it's always good to have a decent camping buddy to go with you. Here's what Uncle B's working on. He's got his feather sticks all nicely made up. He's getting his tinder around. He's a fire making god. So we're gonna be dancing around the fire pole here any second.
So I'm just kind of getting a little fire prep going here. Just getting a little something for the fire to sit on. We've got the broken up tile down in there to keep it off of the little moist dirt, but something so when it starts burning, it's got some coals and can burn down into that. But I've got some fat wood feather sticks, not the greatest ones, but I'm working on it. My smaller tinder working into fuel. I'm gonna use Mr. F. Brought some lifeboat matches, so we're going to use those. Kind of waterproof, so there we go. Just pull them apart. One thing about when you use matches, don't strike like this. Matches are best when you use them in compression, so strike them like that. You don't risk breaking your stick. So I'm going to set these in here right away. I'm going to try lighting this one. So just like that. Actually, I'm going to try setting that in there too and seeing if... Oh, my fat wood went out. Yeah, failed. I'd have died. Let's try her again. Try this one. This one looks a little better. That's why we're out here practicing. Get this stuff down here too. Come on. Yeah, see, I'm pissing around too long.
I don't know, I was thinking about it.
It's trying. I'm trying to redeem myself here, folks.
Looks like you're going now.
Try not to snuff it out. Put our lighting sources away so we don't lose them. They would go in my pocket. I'll give them back to the rifle owner here in a second. Yeah, looks like we might have her going. Problem is it's going on top of. Let's try that. And then we'll slowly add stuff. Another rule is when the flame gets above the fuel that you have there already, add more fuel. So, but you can see the blackness in that flame. That's that resin in the pine. That's how you know you got fat wood going there. But there you go.
And there you have it. Pele himself, Uncle Bumble, making our fire. That match holder, that shotgun shell match holder, I did that in a video well, a little while ago. I'll put a link in the description if I don't forget to how I made that. It's kind of just a little waterproof match case you make out of two old shotgun shells. But anyway, we have fire. That's a true woodsman. As we got dinner's going to be coming next year. Anyway, we'll be coming back to you here when we're cooking dinner.
Go for it.
And there's our fire. Uncle B's got his bush pot down there. He's getting his water starting to get hot to make his dinner. I guess I should probably do the same here. Just kind of wanted to show you our fire's going good. All right.
I just wanted to show you real quick. You can start one of these backpack stoves with a ferro rod. Just turn it on.
There you go.
Just like that. I didn't know if people knew you could do that with that, so I just kind of wanted to show that you can, if you don't have a lighter, you can still use your ferro rod and knife to light one of them backpack stoves.
That's how you know when it's springtime in Michigan and the Canadian geese are flying. They've been flying almost non-stop here when we've been out camping. Sounds like there's another batch coming in from over here. We're in kind of a corridor here where a lot of migratory birds fly. But anyway, just kind of want to show you guys this. Got my pilot crackers there. Gonna be eating them really quick. I got that with my homemade energy mix that I make with peanut butter and dried fruit. I got a video on that too. I'll put a link in the description for that video. Got my water cooking there. I'm going to show you a little bit how I make kind of an improvised MRE or mountain house. I'm going to take a little chicken gravy mix, little home style instant mashed potatoes, and a can of chicken here. This is kind of for folks that don't have a lot of money to spend on mountain house or something like that. I'm going to show you how I'm going to make supper with this. I'm going to cut the edge off those home style potatoes. I'm going to put some hot water in that, and then I'm going to take that chicken and dump it back into my cup there where the water's boiling with that chicken gravy mix, and I'm going to eat it right out of the package. So when I got that going here, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Here I got my instant mashed potatoes opened up, got my water boiling. This is another reason I like leather gloves, so if I got to hold on to anything hot while I'm cooking or whatever, I don't burn my hand. But I'm just going to pour a little bit in there, and I'm going to mix that up, and I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a second. My potatoes are mixed, and now I dumped that small can of chicken. I left about a half a cup of water in there, and you can see that's making a nice gravy. Just used the half a cup of water that was still left from my mashed potatoes, and I dumped in about a half a package of gravy mix plus the water that was in the can, so nothing went to waste.
And that way I still got a half a pack of gravy mix left. If I got 2 cans and 2 pouches of mashed potatoes, then I got 2 meals. Just kind of a cheap mountain house, I guess. Poor man's variety. So anyway, as soon as that's boiling, I'm going to dump that right back into the bag and eat everything right out of the bag and have a little pilot cracker to go with it. And there's dinner. Homemade energy mix on pilot crackers and mashed potatoes with gravy and chicken right out of the pouch. So when I'm done, I can just throw that into a Ziploc bag that I carried this all in anyway and pack all my trash out. I like to vacuum seal the pilot crackers, so I keep them in my pack so they're not supposed to break. I did break a couple of them, but they're only broken half, so that's pretty good. Those crackers stay together pretty decent. Anyway, I'm gonna sit down and eat now. Just kind of wanted to share my dinner with you. Here's Uncle B making his Mexican chicken and rice.
Judging by the fact that the bags are warm, I think it's done, especially since it's already fully cooked. Just kind of mixing them together. It's a little heavy. Can't imagine why. Mixing them together in a bag so I don't have to clean my pot. I think I'm going to turn my water that I boiled from the stream into a coffee. Nice thing about putting it in this bag is now I have a convenient way to stir it. There we go. There's the dinner. Doesn't it look tasty, folks? It's definitely hot.
Yeah, it's definitely inexpensive too. Like you said, you can use that for just regular stuff at the house too. You don't have to.
At the house, or you can put it in a bag and do it out here. So
yep.
This doesn't have to be an expensive hobby, that's for sure. Well, parts of it anyways.
Yeah.
Some of the gear can get pricey, but there's dinner. And I'm going to turn this.
Light's starting to wane, so we went and filled our water bladders up. It looks like rain a little bit, so we're going to batten down the hatches a little bit. Threw some plastic down, put my first aid kits underneath there so they stay dry just in case it does happen to rain. Uncle B's got the old fire pit and the bush pot rocking there. Getting ready to have a little coffee and a little cider here before it gets completely dark on us. Morning coffee is on. And this will be the next addition to my pack. Learn something every time you come out. But Uncle B's bushcrafting pot setup is kind of awesome. So I'll be adding one of these. Be another 40 bucks spent. Thanks a lot, B. Morning, everybody. We're going to be packing up and heading out here soon. When I get back home, I'm going to do a little follow-up on what worked for us and give you a little wrap-up. Anyway, this is Modern Refugee from the campsite. All back from our bush camp experience. Got a couple pieces of equipment here that worked really well for me that I just kind of wanted to point out. One are these Nighties Figure 9 carabiners. They work really, really good with my just military surplus poncho there. They clipped into the grommets really good. It worked very, very well, and hanging it up, it was very quick to put up, very easy to take down. So these guys right here are going to find a permanent home in with my poncho in my pack from now on. They work really well for me. And then this is kind of the star of the show. I was really impressed with this. This is just a couple of windshield protectors that are kind of made out of that Mylar with kind of bubble wrappy type air pockets in here. I put this inside my hammock and I put my sleeping bag on top of it, and this insulated me well. I was warm all night. I didn't have any problems with my back getting cold, stuff that normally happens when you're sleeping in a hammock overnight without a underquilt or anything on. This worked really good for me. Cost me a whole $3 because I bought 2 of them on clearance and I taped them together with foil tape. Held up great. So I'm going to add this with my hammock camping stuff from now on. This worked really good for me. But anyway, just kind of wanted to show you those things right there and kind of give a little bit of a wrap up. just want to say thank you for everybody watching my channel and watching my videos. Hope you're getting some information out of it. If there's any comments, please throw them down in the comments, or any questions that I can answer. I'll definitely try to do that for you. But anyway, this is Modern Refugees. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys take care.